In this video, I'm going to be showing you how hackers can manage to dump all your database so that they can steal your credentials. Now, this trick can be used by many adversaries, including the database administrators, developers, system administrators, in case you want to back up all your information from a database. Now, this is not fancy hacking as you might have assumed, but this is just normal SQL. So things can become ugly in case one tries to use this in a malicious way. So let's just go on, open up our terminal. Now, since we are working on a database, it means we must have MySQL installed. So, and we have to make sure that it is running. So when I say sudo systemctl start MySQL, then I type my password. Here they will go on and start up my MySQL server. I'm running everything locally on my laptop. So now here, after starting our MySQL server, we can even go on further and we try to test and see whether it is active. So when I run this, you see that we have our MySQL. Now let's say an attacker gets a foothold to your system and you have poor credentials. He will manage to get the username and maybe the password to your database. So I'm going to just come this side. Now after the attacker gets all your credentials to the database, he'll proceed with dumping information from it. So now dumping information from your database, in Linux you will say just mysql dump, just like that, and here you need to provide the -u. With the -u, this is going to be the user who is administering the database. For this sake, the user is going to be root. Now when we add on a -p, with the -p it means we shall provide a password. Now in case you have a password, let's say like handsome, you can write it like that. But of course, when you type your password like this, you are still making your system very weak to hackers, because you'll be writing your password in our normal text. So to be on a safer side, we are going to just write it like that, just with a -p. Now here, this is where you need to know the database which you want to dump. But of course, since we are not sure of the database that we want to dump, I'm going to just come and select this, and we are going to first see the database that we want to dump. So I've copied that. Now for us to see a database or to access the database, we shall say mysql -u and we say root and then -p. So when I press enter, they will ask me the password for a database, whereby the attacker would have got this, maybe after brute forcing your service. So if I press enter, now here I'm going to say show databases. So when I say show databases, you will see that I have multiple databases on my server. We can choose any database that we can dump, or we can dump all databases on the server. So we see here we have Mutility. This is a vulnerable app. Now since we know databases that we want to dump, we have SMS, we have GPT, we have Empire, we have BMG, there are many, and we also have school. So I'm going to first exit out of this. Now since we know databases that we want to dump, we can go back to our path. So when we come back to mysql dump -u root and a -p for our password, here you provide a database that you want to dump. For now, let's say I want to dump a database called school. Now when I provide the database name here, you use a greater than sign so that we can redirect all this information in a file. So now here we can provide a file. Let's say this is going to be school.sql. Now when we press enter, they will ask us for a password, which we could have provided here, but we want here at least to provide some security. So if I type the password to my database and list, you see that we have a database that was dumped here. Or I can clear this and say list school. So you see we have school was dumped. You see that in a few minutes, a attacker or you as a system administrator, you can dump and save your information, maybe to another location, or if you expect your server will crash. But we can go on further and we dump all databases on this server. Now, dumping out databases on this server, we can use a flag of all databases. But before we move to that, we can try to dump, let's say, like 2 databases. So here we shall use the same command, which is mysql dump. Now here, instead of school, which is a 1 database, we can just add on other flags so that we can go on and we dump these databases. So now here we are going to say minus database, just like that, which is databases. And here we can first provide our database one. We had a database which was called SMS, and we also had another database which was called BMG. So here I've provided 2 databases here. Now if I press enter and type the password for my database, they will go on and create a single file called school. Now here they have rewrote the file which existed. So now you can go on and let's say use cat in case you want to be sure that all your information was dumped, so that you can see the SQL. So now here you just need to know your simple SQL. So now you see here we have our SQL syntax here. But when you try to see how they say create a database if not exists, this is SQL. That is 1 database. Let's check whether a second database was created. You see here we also have BMG. So you see that here we've dumped 2 databases. Now I'm going to clear this. We can go on. Now we dump all databases that do exist on our MySQL server. And to dump these databases, we shall use the old databases. But we might also add on another flag so that we can execute these when they are a bit faster. So now here we shall say MySQL dump, just like that. Now here we shall say a -u, we provided a user which is root, and we shall say a -p for a password. Now here in case I wanted this to execute very fast, we shall say -opt, whereby while backing up our data it will be very fast. Now when it comes to dumping out all databases, we shall say database all databases, just like that, and we provide a redirect. So now here I can choose any name. I can just say all_db.sql. So if I press enter, I need to provide the password to my database and press enter again. Now you see it is done. So here I'm going to just say list, and let me use a wildcard so that we can list all that do end with .sql. So you see here we have all databases has been dumped. So let me just go on and use vi, and you see that all databases that were present on our MySQL server have been dumped with their data. You see that in a few minutes, an attacker can manage to dump all your credentials. So now, in case you are interested to see more videos like this in SQL, Kali Linux, hacking, and also defense, you can feel free to subscribe on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to give a thumbs up to this video. You can also feel free to share to friends that may be interested. I'll see you in the next video.